Late we are going. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the studio this evening. So I'm continuing my theme of painting things that remind me of spring. Now that spring is finally here, today I'm going to paint a couple of these, which are calla lilies. I have I was going to say 1,000. I've got lots and lots and lots of these in my yard, and they're so beautiful. They come out in the early spring. They're in bloom right now. They're just fantastic. So I'm going to paint a few of these. All right, in order to do that, I'm going to be using my Pro Art paper, right? You've seen me use this for a while now, 140 pound, 12 inches by 16 inches. I've got my, I don't want to do this because the white of the paper is going to screw up my camera here real quick, but I've got it pre-drawn. This is what I used as my reference photo. You'll see that in just a second. The colors that I'm going to use are these from my limited palette. They are from left to right: cobalt blue, French ultramarine, cobalt green, hooker's green, aureolin, cad yellow, alizarin crimson, quinacridone red, and a few neutrals over here. Raw umber, burnt umber, Payne's gray, and neutral tint. I will just set this over here, and with that I am going to turn on the paint cam. There it is, so you can see what I'm mixing as I mix it. Let's see, I've got water up there. The paints are down here. Here they are. The computer's over here, so if you have any questions, go ahead and throw those out to me. Oh, one last thing. I'm going to be using my Dana Squirrel mop brushes. I really like these. They're fantastic brushes, not a whole lot of money. And I don't know, since I've gone to them, I've been using them for lots and lots and lots. And let me see, I keep saying I'm going to do more with my paper this way so that I can keep it in frame a bit more often. And then it seems like I always end up doing my drawing this way, so that part of it's off the screen. Anyways, okay, so let's get started with this. I'm going to start with the largest one of these brushes I have. This is the Dana number 5. I'm just going to get it wet a little bit. And the calla lilies are really nice and yellowish when you look at them. I'm using a nice cad yellow pale here, and I'm just going to get those wet. I'm not going to worry too much about going outside the lines. Not overly concerned with that. Actually, let me do this. Maybe I can do this a little bit. Let's see. Hold on one second. Let's see if I can get these both. Maybe I should do it this way. There you go. Oh, that's better. If I do it this way, then the paint cam is down there, the picture's up there, and what I'm painting's here. And with a little luck, I won't splash on anything too much. Okay, where was I at? I'm just putting on a little bit of a cad yellow on here. I'm not trying to be too careful about it. It's yellow. We're going to paint over top of it. I'm not that concerned. What I want to do is get in some nice colors here to begin with, right? And if you see my colors falling down a little bit, it is because I've got my paints on, I would say about a 10-degree incline, 10 degrees or so. Yeah, that looks about right to me. Let's see, I want to mix up a little bit of, well, let's see if I can do a little bit of this. I'm going to mix up a little bit of a green to use in here. I'm going to go with a little bit of, oh, here we go again. This is ultramarine blue, but it's also a color by Winsor Newton, which means I can start wetting now, and it will be about a week on Thursday before I am ever able to use it, because their paints dry so rock hard. Let's see, I think, well, the Cad Yellow is Winsor Newton. That one comes out pretty good though. Oh yeah, and this one, can't forget that one. That's Hooker's Green. All right, just cleaning my brush off the side over here. Okay, so this is just the same Cad Yellow that I was using before, with a little bit of French ultramarine, and there makes a nice green that we can put on and begin to start building up a few layers here for what we want to do. I'm going to do something like that, and I'm going to use a slightly different green that I'm just going to make up right now. Haha. For these leaves, these big green leaves that we see in the background back there. So this is raw umber. I use a lot of raw umber in my paintings. If anybody has seen it, mixes, I think it mixes pretty well with a number of different colors. So I have it there. And Aureolin also. I was just gonna help to mute these colors a little bit. Let's see, what have I drawn here? And again, this is just a first go round. I'm not super worried about things being, you know, perfectly placed, perfectly whatever. If they are, they are. If they aren't, well, you know what? We'll deal with it. It's not that big of a deal. All right, just putting a little bit of color on like that. Now, you should, if anybody follows me on Instagram, you have seen that. I don't know, when did I post it? I think I posted this picture, or one very similar to it, yesterday, maybe this morning. I'm not sure. I did 2 paintings last night. This was one of them, just as a test to see how it was going to go, and I liked it, and I went, oh, I'm just gonna put that up there. We'll see what the reaction is to it. I got a number of likes on it, which is great. The point of the whole story was I'm painting this now, and I'm going, oh God, what did I do? How did I do that? Oh, I got to think back and try and figure this out. But I'm not real worried about it. Okay, what I'm going to do here is, as some of this is drying, I'm going to mix up a dark to go in our background back here. And I know, let's see, where's our picture? I know if we look at the picture, we've got a forest of greenery back here. And that's all well and good, but I don't want to paint any of it. That's the long and the short of it. I'm not worried about any of that. What I want to do is get a nice dark in the background here, something that's going to push this flower forward. Nice light, almost white flower in the foreground with some nice dark behind it, something to bring it out, right? So I've got this Payne's Gray, which is a blue-gray. Actually, what I should be using is this neutral tint. The neutral tint, that's going to be the better one. The neutral tint has a little bit of a purplish tint to it. Payne's Gray has that kind of a blue tint to it. And the neutral tint, like I said, kind of a gray, I'm sorry, kind of a purplish tint to it. So if I'm thinking about how I can do this to get I'm trying to think and paint at the same time, which is always dangerous. If I'm trying to do something to get this to stand out a little bit, and I know that my flower is yellow, Well, what I want to do is put a little purple back there, and that will help to push that whole thing right on forward. Boom. So I'm just going to use a little bit of this. We can mix in some other colors here. If this isn't your thing, you don't want to just drop some dark colors in here or one mono color in here. I don't really want just one color in here. We're going to do a number of different colors. I also don't want quite that much water. Come on. Whoa, man, this brush holds so much water and so much paint. Look, it's all the way out there. All right, like we could put some blue in here. That's going way back. We know that we put some blue in there and our mind naturally says, ooh, it's blue, it's got to be further back. Right, we could put some blue in there like that. We'll put some of these other colors in. We'll mix some darker greens in down here, and we'll mix, well, let's just do it. As long as we're going there, let's see what we can do. Here's some darker green, blue going around here. There we go. If anybody's got any questions, anybody who's watching has any questions, just throw them out there. I'm happy to answer any questions anybody has. That's part of the fun of making these live recordings, is so that you can interact with people. I hope there's somebody out there who wants to ask a question or two, or three or four, whatever. I'll answer whatever I'm able to answer. All you have to do is just give me an opportunity to look over there. I've got to figure out how to point over there. This hand doesn't go around like that. You got to give me an opportunity to look over at the computer to see what's going on over there before I can answer. All right, I dropped down a size in brushes. This is, I guess I dropped down 2 sizes. This is a number 3. And I'm looking at my picture to see where there are some colors in here. Something I can add on to, strengthen a couple of values here. And I think we've got something that looks a little bit like that. I'm just going to get this wet and blend these edges out. I also think there's a little touch of red in here. I got to grab some of this alizarin crimson, but not much. I've learned very little alizarin crimson. Alizarin crimson is such a strong, crazy color that, oh my Lord, I don't know how they ever found alizarin crimson or where it came from or why it was ever left in a palette. It's so crazy, so strong. All right, and now I'm going to look at this. I'm going to rinse my brush out over here really well. And I'm going to look, I know right here, I want to make it a little bit lighter. So with my brush, right in through here too, with my brush, just barely damp. I've rinsed it, blotted it. I've got it in my towel here. Just a nice thirsty brush here. Take some of that paint right back off, and with any luck, when we do that, it's going to make nice soft edges on there, but put those lines right back in for us where we want them. If that made sense at all. It's gonna take off just a little bit of paint. It's gonna leave a little bit of paint, and it's gonna help us add some definition, some contours to our flower there. And we're gonna do the same thing with this one. And you see I've got a little bit of paint mixing right there. I'm going to try very hard not to worry too much about that. In fact, what I want to do is right down here, I want to add just a little bit of that neutral tint, maybe a little bit of this green-blue mixture will be a little bit better. I don't even know if you can see that. I don't know if the camera's able to even pick that up. There's just such a slight little amount there. All right, and I know now this is dry enough. I can come back on the top of all this. I need to strengthen a few colors in here. So I'm going to grab a whole bunch of these colors, and if I look here, I do know it still needs to be fairly yellow. So I'm going to mix my cad yellow in there. We've got a nice beautiful puddle of color right there. And let's see. This is going to come down just about like this. I just want to get it in the general place. There we go. And this one the same thing, just in the general vicinity of where I want to keep this color, or where I want to place this color, I guess is the better way to say that. There we go. This brush, I should say, this brush comes to a nice enough point that I can get into all of these spots. The only thing I don't have to get into there is the steady hand to get into there that I really need. Well, that's okay. My style of painting, I'm not trying to be a photorealist, right? I've never tried to be a photorealist. I learned early on in my painting career that trying to be a photorealist really kind of makes you kind of just go kind of kooky, like you're so worried about, is it right here, is it right there, can I do this just a little better, can I do just a little different? That for me, when I would try so hard to do that, I felt like I lost a little bit of the essence of the painting. Everything got a little bit worked. I wanted it to be freer and more flowing and a little bit more fun. And so now if you look at a lot of my paintings, you can see they're a lot more fluid. There's a lot less of me trying to force everything to do what I want it to do, and letting the paint do what it wants to do. So I'm going to grab a few colors here. Oh, what was this one? This is burnt umber and a little bit of my dark that's over there. It's kind of at this point, it's a mix of my neutral and Payne's gray. So it's just a gray. I'm warming it up a little bit with some of that burnt umber. And I don't know, I'm going to come right back in here. I'm going to drop a little bit of that color in there. Something just like that. I'm going to blend this out a little bit. There we go. No questions tonight. Nobody has any questions tonight. If you've got a question, feel free to ask. I am ready, willing, and able to answer whatever I can for you. And if I can't answer something, or if I don't know something, if I'm not good enough to answer, which is always a possibility, I will just say, I can't answer that, or I don't know how to answer that, I guess would be the better way I would say that. But if you got something, throw it out there. This is one of the reasons I wanted to do live videos, so that I could help people who are learning to paint, or want to paint, or just want to ask a question, or you're not worried about painting a whole lot, you just like to watch videos and you have a question about something, so you can ask that too. All right, and you can see as we're moving around here, putting in some, whoa, I don't want to do that. It's too close to the color we're working with. It probably is too. Let's do this. I'm going to go back into a blue. There we go. I want to keep building up this color around the edge of this. There we go. It looks like I got a brush stroke in there. I don't want that. If you get a brush stroke in your painting, an unintended brush stroke, just like I had right there, just from a little bit of paint on the side of your brush or whatnot that didn't really get mixed in real well or put on your brush real well, you can just add a little bit of extra water. It will help pull that right out of there. There we go. That's looking better. Okay, so what can we do here? We got to do a little bit of work underneath here. Oh, let me. Let's see if I can do this. This is kind of a darker yellow. This is where my Aurelian is going to come in handy. So I can reach in this way. Something like this. Pull that up that way just a bit. Let's see. Are we looking like are we getting some shape to it now? I hope. Let's see, I missed, that was Aurelian I'm supposed to be grabbing. There we go. All right, now let's come back into a little bit of this green mixture. I continue to work on the shape of this bottom of our lily here. This looks good. Okay, if you guys aren't going to ask questions, I'm going to ask a question. Hopefully somebody can answer for me. I have been having video problems here the last few weeks, and I have a new Ethernet delivery system where I'm running where I'm running my Ethernet through the power line to get it out to the studio. Is the video still running well out there? If somebody could let me know that would be fantastic. I really hope it is. I hope you're able to see it. It shows that there are still a few people watching, so I have to assume that somehow, some way, internet is getting out. I'm going to take that as a good sign. If nothing else, let's see, I'm going to drop down to an even smaller brush. This is the number 1 of the set of the Dano brushes that I bought. I bought the 1, the 3, and the 5. And now you've seen me use every one of them. There we go. I think I need a little bit of paint lift out right there. What do I need up here? I need a bit of a darker little patch up here, don't I? Let's see what we can do. I don't want to make it cold and dark. We can get warm and a bit dark. Let's try that. So I'm talking about right in here. Maybe even a bit darker than that. Maybe I didn't get quite enough. There we go. How does that look? Does that look better? Does that give it a little bit more shape? I think that makes it look a little bit better. All we need to do is make sure it doesn't run and bleed out all of our green down here. All right, I think we're going to be okay. We'll do this. We're just fine. All right, but before we do too much more, we need to start working on our green in the background back there. I'm going to mix up a nice big puddle of this Hooker's green. I like Hooker's green. It's nice and bright, and it mixes pretty well with just about everything else. So let's mix that with a little bit of our raw umber. You know what? Let's mix it with a little bit of our burnt umber. That should gray it down a little bit, tone it down. There we go. If we need to punch that up a little bit, we can add a little bit of this cad yellow. Brings the color up. Where are we going to add some more Hooker's green? There's lots of ways we can do it with this, but that's a good color. I like that color. I think this color is just different enough from the other colors we've got here. I'm continuing to play with it. I really shouldn't do that. I think that's just different enough that we can get in here. And you know what? I'm going to make it even more different. I'm going to add, there we go. I think that's better. I want to add, make it a bit darker because I'm going to put on this big leaf back here. And just like this stuff up here, even though we're not quite done with it, I want that to be, ooh, that's too dark. I want that to be darker than what's right around it. I'm going to move this just ever so slightly. There we go. We could have done that with blue. That might look good. There we go. Oh, that's not so bad. That'll lighten up and come out a little bit. Not lighten as in I don't want it so dark, because I do want it that dark. I mean, when it dries, it'll lighten a little bit. It looks a bit grayish, but I want that nice blue line right there because that's what's going to make it differentiate from the rest of everything there. Let's do that. See if we can do that same thing on this side. I'm just looking to see where I can put my arm down over here. I have a bad habit of always leaving a few fingerprints in whatever I paint. There we go. And as long as we've got blue on this side and blue on this side, when somebody looks at this, they're going to look at that and go, shadow. I know it's a shadow. It's not just a big hunk of blue paint right there. Let's fill that in. Come on. Now's when I need a little bit bigger brush. I should have. Guess I still could go and grab that little bigger brush. Oh, I don't know. I think I'm doing okay with this littler one. Whoa. Get back up there. All right, there we go. That's not so bad. We can mix maybe a little bit more in a puddle here. And we can do, let's do this leaf up here. Slightly different color. We don't need to make this one quite as blue because it's going to be part of this other leaf, and it's going to be against this yellow. It's yellow. It's not really yellow. It's Calla Lily color is what it is. There. There. You know what, I think I am going to give that just a little shot of this blue right back there. Help to push that back a little bit. It doesn't need to be just a line. We can mess that up a little bit. People are still going to know that that's a big old leaf right there. Do the same thing over here. And dip into our green color going this way. There we go, and let's do another one down here. We start it with a little different color. Let's do this. A little bit of green in here. There we go. Let's go back to our brighter green. Need to make that a little bit darker. There we go, there's another leaf right there. And that was too much for me right there. So I just damped a little bit of that off. I think that's going to be better. You know what, if I do that and just put in a bit of a, you know what, this one kind of too bugging me a little bit. It's a little more intense than I want. I'm okay with, and I do this from time to time. I can blot that out. We can take care of it. I don't want dark next to dark. I want dark next to light. And I don't want all my colors to be the same value. Look, now I've messed with the water on here and it's just running everywhere. There we go. Kind of fix that up. So what I mean by that is when I've got these two colors right next to each other, two objects right next to each other, if they're the same intensity, your eye muddles them together. What happens is you don't see that there's a big difference between the two of them. Like right now, these two, here and here, kind of have the same intensity. But if we punch the intensity of one of those up, make it more intense than the other, now you can see there's a difference. That's all we've got to do. I hope I'm painting on the page so that you can see it, or painting in the video so that you can see it. I'm going to take that stronger mix, there it is, and I'm going to let that carry down through the bottom of this. I think I'm okay with it because, let's see, let me get enough, put a something like that in the middle here. All right, there we go. Now you can tell if you look at it that this is different than that. This leaf now has a lot more texture to it. It's different than that stuff behind it. Speaking of that stuff behind, we've got some more over here that we could really, if we really darkened this up, we can actually make this a really dark green back here if we want to. We can really darken this up. It will bring all of that stuff forward quite a bit. There we go, there we go. And my dark green color can go in here also. And maybe a little in here. Over here. This is a good place if you want to mix some blue in it too. Great place to do it down here. We've got a big open area on this side. Actually, you know what? We need a bit more definition in here. I'm going to come back, make a nice thick wash here. A bit thicker anyways, not a real super thick, but a bit thicker. Let's see, warm that up and bring that up just like we did before. A little bit over here. Let's do that. Just the same thing we did before. I'm just going to soften that edge right out. But with any luck, what it's going to do is give us a little bit more depth on this Calla Lily. It's going to push this bit back further in to the center of the flower. I had something like that in there. Take a little bit of that color out. There we go. I think I had some on this side. Might have taken too much over here. I don't know. It's looking okay. There's a little lip underneath here we can put in if we can do it. Something like that. I'm going to keep mixing a bit of this darkish green. Put a little bit more up here in a couple of places. I don't need it to be super dark green everywhere, but maybe just to make it stand out in a couple of places over here. Now if I'm going over towards our green over here, yeah, I want to make this a bit darker. Oh, I painted the back of that. You can mix the blue in over there. Let's see if I can reach across and get this. That's all right. I'm going to pull this out. And I'm looking at this now. And I'm thinking to myself, you know, it's okay. I've kind of lost all the springiness to it as I'm looking at it. It looks okay to me. I like it. But all of a sudden I put in a bit of a bit of dark here. And all of a sudden, well, you know what? No, I haven't lost anything. It's a rainy day. That's it. It's a cooler, rainier day. Spring is here, but not quite in full bloom. And what we're seeing here is that precisely is that we're just waiting for it to get here. I didn't mean for it to get quite as gray here as it did, but it did, and that happens a bit. I think what I'm going to do, I think the last thing I'm going to do is put a few stripes on here and a little glaze on top. I still need to put some blue in that. All right, my stripes didn't quite stay. My veins didn't quite stay like I'd hoped they would. Sometimes you put them in with a straight paint and they'll stay. I just didn't like it was too light in here. I thought we needed to do a little bit of something. Maybe a little bit of cobalt in there. Push that all the way back. Actually, I'm liking that better. I'm liking that better, to tell you the truth. And on this side, something to try and match that color just a little bit. If you've got a straighter hand, you can get that in there a little bit better. My hand isn't always that straight. Well, you know what? I think if I do a whole lot more, I'm just going to be fiddling with it. And I don't want to fiddle too much. Because as soon as I start to fiddle too much, then everything really gets wonky. So I'm going to end it right there. Sign right over here on this leaf. Right there. So that's it. That's my interpretation of this Calla Lily right there. Well, it's got a little neighbor too. I forget that Calla Lily and that Calla Lily. There they are. Those are my Calla Lilies. I hope you enjoyed watching me paint these tonight. I hope this helped you out if you're learning to paint. If you like this, please do subscribe below. Where's that? There's got a subscribe button over there somewhere. Like the video and check back again later. I do post videos every week, and I'm trying to do a live video every Saturday, if you can check back. If not, thanks for being in here tonight. I enjoyed having you here. We'll see you around next week. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.